All right. Hey, come up. You go next to me. All right. My name is Keith Zgonc. Last name spelling Zgonc.
What's your title, sir?
I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Smyrna Police Department. Thank you all for coming out. I'll give you a brief synopsis of what happened this evening over at Adventure Outdoors on South Cobb Drive, and then we'll open it up for a few more comments, and then take a couple of questions that we can answer, and then that'll be it for this evening. So shortly before midnight, Smyrna police officers responded to a call of shots fired, as well as a call of a burglary in progress at the Adventure Outdoor stores on South Cobb Drive in Smyrna. When officers arrived, they encountered an armed gunman that was inside the store. He had made his way inside the store. Gunfire erupted between the gunman and officers on scene. Officers from the Smyrna Police Department and the Cobb County Police Department returned fire. 2 Smyrna police officers were injured and wounded in the shooting. They were both transported to a local area hospital where they are recovering from their injuries. The suspect in this incident is deceased. As this is an officer-involved shooting, with all of our officer-involved shootings, the GBI is now on scene and they are investigating the shooting. I'd like to turn it over to Chief Van Hooser from the Cobb County Police Department.
Good morning. I'd also like to thank you guys for coming out today. I think, to be honest, Chief Zgonc covered most of this. I can just put a little bit of context in it. We got our first notification, or our first response to this was at 12:16 a.m. this morning. We arrived on scene at 12:22. And of course we assisted Smyrna Police with what they were already involved in, and at some point, of course, gunfire occurred and the suspect was shot and killed. None of our officers are physically injured, and obviously we're keeping the Smyrna Police family and our own police family in our thoughts and prayers for sure, as we do very constantly, and all the other people that are affected by this, especially the families of the officers. So I think that's all that I have to add at this point. I believe we were going to take a few questions. I would just say this before we go to the questions. The information that Chief Zgonc and I have given you is very, very initial, and it's subject to small edits tomorrow as we find more information through the rest of the night. But I'll allow the chief to take back over. This is mainly a Smyrna Police issue, especially with his 2 officers injured. So that if you have any questions of either one of us, we'll be happy to answer what we can.
Chief, how are the officers doing right now?
Both officers are at the hospital. They're recovering. One is still being treated. The other one is expected to be released
How
here
serious
shortly.
are their injuries?
They're non-life threatening.
So how did this all start? Take us through that.
So we received 2 calls into our 911 center. One was a shots fired call, followed shortly thereafter by a burglary in progress call at the Adventure Outdoors.
So this crook broken into Adventure Outdoors,
Yes.
for the purpose of stealing weapons?
We're not sure what his reasoning was for breaking into the store at this time, so we can't make that assumption yet.
Who opened fire on whom?
The suspect opened fire on officers, and they returned fire.
And Chief, those 2 first 911 calls, you got one for shots fired, one for burglary. Can you kind of explain some context? I mean, how those calls came to you? Were they shooting in the store? Can you kind of clarify?
No, well, the store, due to the timing, obviously the store was closed at the time. So I do not know who made the initial 911 call of the shots fired, or how those calls initially came into our 911 center. I just know that we received 2 calls back to back.
So there's one suspect inside at some point opened fire. At some point, that's what you guys responded to?
There's only one suspect in the case.
And I
mean, there's been, you know, with officer-involved shootings, I mean, I have never seen a scene that big. Was it more of the nature of the store as the reason why there was such a massive police presence, or is that just kind of not normal for the call, but kind of know what I'm getting at?
I think that when you have a call involving shots fired, when you take in all the circumstances surrounding the fact of where it was located, and then followed up with the fact that officers were injured. When an officer's injured in a shooting, everybody in the area comes, and you can see the partnerships that we have in Cobb County between all the police departments and the sheriff's office. I can't tell you how many text messages I got within moments of our officers hadn't even arrived at the hospital, and we were getting text messages from other agencies, you know, offering any assistance they could offer.
Hey, I'd like to let me add something to that. We've had 2 officers killed in Metro Atlanta in just the last few weeks, and it wasn't a big story on the news, but Atlanta police had an officer shot, and we had 2 officers shot on this one. And 2 years ago, on September 8th, we lost 2 officers in this county, 2 Cobb County deputies. There's going to be a lot of police officers come when one of their comrades is hurt. One of their brothers in blue is hurt. And we don't know what we have. We don't know how many suspects we have, but we do know that they're in a gun store with lots of weapons, lots of long weapons, lots of pistols, lots of ammo. And so, yes, sir, we had a lot of officers come, and that's the reason that they came.
And along those lines, the fact that there have been so many officers shot at over the past few weeks, what goes through your mind when you think about all this that's happening and the dangers in the job?
That's a long question that requires a long answer. You know, when something like this happens, and unfortunately, recently it's been happening all too often. I can tell you my feeling. I'll just be honest with you. I'm angry. It angers me that we have people that want to do this, that want to take shots at police officers, that want to do us harm, and you know, clearly this individual that committed this act was involved in a criminal act, you know, that necessitated our response. So yeah, it's anger.
And along those lines, a guy breaks into a gun store, opens fire on officers. How brazen of a crime was this?
I think you probably answered that as good as I could, as brazen as there is.
And Chief, can you talk about, I might have mentioned I missed it, but the original call came in. Can you talk about your 2 officers' response? Did they engage with this suspect immediately? They took on the shots, were hit, then called for emergency backup. Can you just, I can't get into a lot of detail, but can you just talk about those 2 officers' response and when they actually took on that gunfire?
I don't have all the details on that.
But they were shot and then called for backup? Or did Cobb County? That's what I was just trying to clarify. Did they get shot and it's like, hey, we've been hit, everybody responded, and that's when Cobb County engaged with a suspect? I'm not clear on the timing of all that, and we may be able to clear some of that up later today or sometime tomorrow.
Hey guys, one more question and we have to shut this down.
Are we good? Anything you would like to say to the officers that were injured? Personally.
I spent the evening with the officers up there, so I won't disclose what we shared.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.